Welcome to this tutorial. My name is Ian and I will be taking you through the tutorial. So in the previous tutorial we saw how we could easily take our filtering and use that within our pivot tables. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at slices. So you're going to see by applying slices with your pivot tables, it creates a really powerful interactive way of being able to filter the data within your pivot tables. You're going to find that you can build a nice little graphical user interface and then interactively be able to filter those pivot tables. So hopefully I think you're going to find you're going to enjoy this tutorial. Please make sure you also like and subscribe to our channel if you want to keep up with all the latest videos we produce. But let's jump into the tutorial. I will see you there. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to continue with our series of tutorials on our online Excel pivot tables. So please, if you haven't seen the previous tutorials, please jump in there if you want to get up to speed with where we are. But at the moment, what we've got is we've got our pivot table fields. We've got some fields that we've been building our tables with. And in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can use the slicer feature to be able to interactively be able to filter our pivot tables. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to start with is our customer state, drop that into our rows, get a list of all our customer states. We're going to drop our sales into our values. So we've seen this quite a lot. We've just built our pivot table very, very quickly with our sum of sales and customer states. Now in the previous tutorial, what we looked at was that we could easily filter the pivot table by using the filters. But what if you wanted more of a graphical interface when it came to being able to actually filter your pivot table? And this is really where slicers come to the fore. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our pivot table and we're going to go across to our pivot table menu. Now we haven't really looked at this in depth in our tutorial so far, but this is something I'm going to leave you to really play around with. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to use different pivot table styles. So if you wanted to change the colors and the way that your pivot table is presented, you can use that. You'll also see over here you've got some style options. So you can decide, do you want things like banded rows, banded columns, whether you want row headers, column headers. So there's a few things you can do. But the one that I'm interested in for this tutorial is we're going to be looking at our insert slicer. So when I click on this, it's going to go through my data source and it's going to pull back a list of all the fields that we got in that data source. So in this case, let's say we want to use our region and we want to use our product category as two slices that we're going to use to filter this pivot table. So we just select those, insert slices, and we're going to click on OK. And you'll see now that it creates a graphical little interface that we're going to be using to be able to work with this. So there we go. There we've got our two. So I'm just going to move these about a little bit so you can see them. And you'll see that it's normal Microsoft here. You can use your resize handlings to be able to create how big or small you want these to be. Let's start with the product category. So when you click on product category, you will see that you actually do get a slicer menu. So this does give us some options in terms of how you want to format your slicer and also the settings for this. But the main thing that I want to show you is that the product category, as soon as I pick, say, furniture, is you're going to see that now my pivot table gets filtered straight away, only show the product category furniture figures. If I change it to office supplies, you'll see now that it automatically filters this to only show office supplies or technology. So there we go. Now this will update with those filtered values. So basically it's applying the filter by using this little graphical interface. In the top right hand corner, we do get a clear filter. So we click on that icon, clears all the filters, and you can see that the values go back to what they were. This allows us to be able to do a multi-select. So basically you can click on this and you can click on more than one option. The other way of being able to do that is you can actually use the control key. So by using the control key, you can choose more than one option as well. So I'm going to turn that off, multi-select off. We'll just then clear our filter. And I'm going to click furniture and then I'll use the control key. And you'll see that both of those are then selected. So that's just a different way of being able to choose it. I prefer the control key. It's up to you if you want to use the multi-select. But there we go. Let's just clear all the filters. Let's have a look at this slicer menu. So basically the first one is that you can change the styling of this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. If I want to change it to green, just select the green colors and you'll see that it will update. I'm going to let you experiment with that. However, the main place I want to go to is our settings. So we're going to click on settings and you'll see a new panel pops out. And what this allows me to do is be able to change elements of my slicer. So I'm just going to collapse these quickly just so you can see all of them in one place. So you can see that you get your size and positions, your properties, pivot table connections, and some alternate text. So in this first one, I'm just going to be interested in the size and positions. So you can see that you've got button settings, you can say how many do you want in a row. So let's say we increase that and we'd say we want 3. Now you'll see that all 3 now have been placed onto one row. And this does allow you, when you've got limited space and you want to be able to put more product categories in there. You also see that you can change your height and your width of this. You can just select these and it will change the height and width of these. Also, you can change the slicer size, the slicer positioning. Again, I'm going to leave you to experiment with those, but the main thing I wanted to show you is you can change the color, but this number per row is very useful. If we jump across to our region and you say that you want 2 saved per row, you'll see that it now formats that quite nicely. Now, once you've got these slices on your screen, you can actually use them in combination. So let's say we wanted to know what was the total sales for the customer states that are in the central region for furniture. So I could choose central on this one and then choose furniture on here. And you'll see then it will apply both of those filters to my pivot table. So I'm going to leave you to experiment with the styling, also with the number per row. You're going to see as you work a little bit more with this, it's very, very easy to work with. But the most thing that I want to show you is that actually it's very easy to be able to choose these, and you're really creating a nice little interface for your users to be able to use, or for yourself to use, when it comes to being able to filter and to be able to interactively work with your data. Just remember, for your filters, you can just click there. And the last part that I want to show you in this tutorial is that if you want to remove these slices, you just basically click on them, select them, and then you would press the delete key. So we just press the delete key and that would remove your slices. Again, if you want to add a new one, just remember, go to pivot table, go to insert slicer. Let's say in this case we want to use product subcategory. Click OK. You'll see there's quite a lot of product subcategories. I'm going to resize this, make it a bit bigger. We're going to go to our slicer. We've got our settings set on. And let's say on number per row, we want to make 2. Let's actually even make 3. There we go. Got 3 on there. And you'll see now that that becomes a lot more compact in terms of presentation. But again, you can select these and it will then filter this. So there we go. That's going to conclude our tutorial on using slices. I will see you in the next tutorial.